Welcome to Destination Jamaica. Now, Jamaica has given a lot to the world, so much more than sports, music, and food. This image, created by Cavian Art, showcases some of our key people and crucial contributions. Do you recognize all the faces in this artwork? Tell us in the comments. We always think for such a small country, our spirit, talent, love, and gifts are enormous. We truly stand on the shoulders of giants. The more we look into who we are, what we do, and so forth, the more we learn about our intelligence, creativity, militance, innovation, spirituality, and more. We are proud Jamaicans. Jamaica, we are proud. Can you believe we created a whole religion? Well, some people might not call this a religion, but a spiritual and even a political movement. The movement we are talking about is Rastafarianism, or the shortened version, Rastafari. We always found Rastafari intriguing, and upon researching, we see that Rastas haven't always had the easy journey. They are oftentimes looked down on, demeaned, isolated, and even worse. As much as we adore our country and we promote the good things, it is crucial to note that we can be, sadly, our worst enemies against our own, not embracing our natural selves or boosting national pride. In other words, with a love we own, be proud of we own, and accept we own. No bother wait upon outsiders' approval or international acceptance. We could go on and on about this, but that's for another video. Let's get into today's topic. So, how did Rastafari or Rastafarianism originate in Jamaica? It is said that Rastafari goes back to Marcus Garvey. You know him, a prominent black leader coming from Jamaica, founder of the UNIA Negro World, and just empowering millions of black people across the globe at a time when they didn't have much hope. So Marcus Garvey prophesied that a black king would be crowned when he said, "Look to Africa, where a black king shall be crowned. He shall be your redeemer." Then, in April 1930, Ethiopia crowned a king, his name being Rastafari. His crowning name was Emperor Haile Selassie. Afro-Jamaicans saw this as Marcus Garvey's prophecy being fulfilled. They started the Rasta movements in the 1930s, which took Haile Selassie's name before his crowning. However, some today don't believe the crowning of Haile Selassie is linked to Marcus Garvey, citing that Marcus Garvey called Haile Selassie a coward after Haile Selassie fled Ethiopia in 1936 following an invasion of Benito's Mussolini's. So what are your thoughts about this? Tell us in the comments and let's continue. The first branch of Rastafari is to have been established in Jamaica. Well, is believed to have been established in Jamaica in 1935 by Leonard Howell. Howell preached the divinity of Haile Selassie. He explained that all blacks would gain the superiority over whites that have always been intended for them. Howell's action encouraged others to help develop and spread the message of Rasta theology. And as E. Cashmore explains, all in their own ways added pieces to the jigsaw, and the whole picture came together in the mid 1950s when a series of congregations of Rastas appeared at various departure points on Jamaica's shores, awaiting ships bound for Africa. This marked the first uniting of Rastafarians, and it paved the way for the future of the movement, bringing hope of uniting with Africa and freedom for the black race. In 1966, Haile Selassie visited Jamaica, where he was greeted with vast enthusiasm. The development of reggae music during this period made Rastafari audible and visible to an international audience. The work of the late great Bob Marley and Island Records was popular with a much wider group than the working class Jamaican culture from which it sprang. As the rock critics Stephen Davis and Peter Simon said, reggae propelled the Rasta cosmology into the middle of the planet's cultural arenas, and suddenly people want to know what all the chanting and praying and obsessive smoking of herb marijuana was all about. Now, I would love to interview traditional Rastafarians about this. I would love to speak to Rastafarians that can give us their history from their mouths. Many times during research, I see others writing about our history, and I don't particularly want to hear that. I mean, it's good to have diverse and so forth, but I want to hear from our people. So hopefully we can get an interview with a traditional Rastafarian, probably someone who was, know more about them and could tell us oral history of all that. Now let's continue. Some traditional Rastafarians were disturbed by the popularity of reggae, fearing that the faith would be commercialized or taken up as a cultural fad rather than a religion. And some do have a problem with Rastafarianism being called a religion. They mostly call it a spiritual movement, a lifestyle, a liberty. It is important to note that Marcus Garvey passed on June 10, 1940, so he didn't get to see all of this. Who knows what he would have said or did if he had. We are going to give a general summary of the movement, and then in part 2 we'll dive into more as to what it means to be Rasta, other than the apparent lock here. Though some believe you don't have to dread to be Rasta. We'll talk more about the beliefs, Africa, and the practices of Rastafari in part 2. Now, Rastafari beliefs are based on a specific interpretation of the Bible. Central is a belief in a single God, referred to as Jah, who is deemed to partially reside within each individual. Rastas accord key importance to Haile Selassie, the Emperor of Ethiopia, between 1930 and 1974. Many regard him as the second coming of Jesus and Jah incarnate, while others see him as a human prophet who fully recognizes Jah's presence in every individual. Rastafari is Afrocentric and focuses attention on the African diaspora, which it believes is oppressed within Western society or Babylon. Many Rastas call for this diaspora's resettlement in Africa, a continent they consider the promised land or Zion. Rastas emphasize what they regard as living naturally, so they have ideal diets, They wear your hair in dreadlocks and more. So that's it for now. We have more coming your way. In part 2, we'll expand on some of these areas so that you can have a greater understanding of Rastafari. Let us know in the comments what you think. If you value this content, go ahead and give a thumbs up. If you want to, you can comment, you can subscribe, you can share, and join us in the community where we have our discussions happening. Until next time, take care of yourself and each other. Stay blessed. Always.